Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the AI InterConnect podcast. I'm your host, Lauren. This show is about real operators sharing what's actually happened behind the scenes of building technology companies. AI InterConnect exists to connect funders, operators, and investors through honest conversation about growth, AI, and execution. Today, I'm joined by Luca Zambello, CEO at Jurny, and Jurny builds AI-powered software that helps hospitality operator run short-term rentals and hotels more efficiently. Luca, thank you for being here. Very, very happy to have you on the show. Wonderful. Okay, then I'm excited. I think you're the first PMS and all AI powered. And okay, this is great. Okay, then, yes, let's start with your background so listener understand the path that led you here. And you clearly have an international perspective and have worked across different market and teams. How did your background and early career experiences lead you to build Journey and focus on hospitality operations?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I was born and raised in Italy, and I moved to LA when I was 21. Initially to study, but I kind of stumbled pretty early on into the hospitality industry. It was a pre Airbnb era. Like Airbnb was starting to become a thing, but it wasn't yet too popular. And I realized that there was an opportunity, especially for rentals. I didn't well, honestly, it was never my intention to get into property management, but I saw an opportunity because I saw that there was demand for luxury homes. And I couldn't find anything online. I was like, "How's that possible?" And literally, my first business in LA was launching a landing page, said that we help you find luxury homes, some photos, not even of those homes, but just like literally some bot photos of from the internet, and I start running some ads. That business did $1.2 million in revenue on year one, and it was a very
Wow.
it was very lucrative on year one, but it was short lived because what happened is that the Airbnb basically the concept of putting your homes online, which now it's like an obvious thing, it was back then it wasn't so obvious. It started to become more and more obvious, and this owner started to realize, hey, what do we need? Like a broker in between our customers. We can list the homes online and do it ourselves. I quickly shifted from basically actually representing homes, becoming a property management, and I grew and scaled that property management company to over 300 units across 5 different cities in US. But I mean, I'm a technologist. I always believe in technology. So I like property management became a consequence of what I wanted to do, but I really want to utilize technology to make that industry a lot more efficient. And I saw really an opportunity of utilizing technology to do that. But one thing that I did realize is that the existing infrastructure that was in the market was really limiting. When you run Airbnbs and short-term rentals, it's a fragmented operation on its own because you have different places, different buildings, different units in different cities, different legislations. It's very opposite of what an hotel is, where you have a centralized operations and you run everything from that operation, and then you can kind of standardize each hotel. And the Airbnb industry is very different. So you'll have to compensate it with technologies, but technologies we're not doing that. In fact, in our space, we have yet to see like big winners. There hasn't been like the Marriott or Hilton of the situations that have really expanded and grown, become like big companies, right? And so I saw that as an opportunity of like utilizing technology to really streamline operations, defragment the operations, right? Having like a central place where I have all the informations. And while we were developing all of that, then the rise of AI started. So we saw that coming, and we saw it like being one of the most disruptive technology ever. We realized that because I mean, obviously AI is going to have massive impact across multiple industries, but specifically for hospitality, where you have a lot of, it's really, really hard to standardize everything because it's hospitality. So you have to tailor make experiences for guests, because if you standardize too much, then you lose brand identity and brand value for guests. And the second one is because you have one-off scenarios especially the short-term rental, that's like next multiple compared to even hotels all the time. And so it's super hard to automate one-off scenarios. There's slight variation maybe of the same scenario, but it's different. And so really AI is the best piece of technology exactly to do that. And so we really double down on that. And that's how we got to Jurny, which I'm sure we can explore more into what it is.
I love it. This is great. Great. Thank you for this insight. And looking back, what did you underestimate most about starting in this space?
I wish it was one thing. I don't know if it's necessarily of hospitality related, but one thing I can tell you is that the first version of like finding an opportunity, I realized that especially in US, you have to move fast because capital moves, like coming from a European reality where things move much slower at a much slower pace, for good and the bad, right? There's positive and negative. I think like businesses grow slower, but they're a lot more robust in a way. But then you miss out on a lot of the technology innovations. But in US, it's like as soon as there is a gap, you will find that there's tons of capital that gets poured in, and people move super, super fast. And that's the number one lesson I learned, which I learned on Jurny specifically. In fact, we did raise capital, and we are moving very fast. I guess this is like the second point is that I think it's pretty common with a lot of entrepreneurs that you just underestimate grandiosity of your idea of how big it is and how much work it actually has to go into to fully execute it and end up really delivering value for customers. Because I'll say that the third and the last, we built a really good solution for ourselves, and we totally underestimated what it meant like to bring it to the market, and then the market has different needs than us. We assume, and this is, by the way, I've seen this over and over and over and over, people that develop a software for themselves internally, and then they try to bring it to the market, and most people fail because you don't realize that it's a very different how you're running your operation, how you're doing things versus the rest of the market. And I think especially true for short-term rentals because there's almost no standard.
Definitely. No, that's for sure. What stand out with Jurny is that you're not just another tool, you are trying to rethink how operation runs. And when you explain Jurny to someone outside hospitality tech, how do you describe what you actually do and who you help precisely?
Well, it's think about it as like an operating system that centralize all your moving aspects of your business. I think a lot of people underestimate how many moving parts is behind an hospitality operation, even when you're booking an Airbnb. But there's so much coordination that needs to happen: cleaning, maintenance, repairs, like pricing management, marketing. Like there's tons of stuff that has to happen, and even for just a single listing. And so like you have to think about it that as you start scaling, in the beginning, maybe if you're running a handful of units by yourself, you're fine. But as you start scaling, you have to have a team. If you don't have everything centralized, it becomes very, very complex and hard to manage. That's the number one problem that we solve is centralizing everything. How you manage your cleaner, how you manage your pricing, how you manage every moving piece of your operation. That's important for two reasons. One is because you want to have everything centralized so you can command it, and the second is so you can automate it, and now you leverage AI. So one of the biggest misconception I think with AI is like I hear all the time, it's like, yeah, I asked ChatGPT, but it couldn't do what I ask. And then you're like, okay, can I take a look at your prompt, for instance, right? Like, and you see the prompt is like, okay, just build me $1 billion business, just one single prompt, right? Like the problem of most people where I think it's hard to understand is that people just think that AI is this like magic thing that is going to just create everything out of nowhere, out of thin air. But it's very much not like that. I think like the best way to look at AI is to think as you're dealing with a human. If you're hiring someone, it can be the smartest person on earth, but if it's never done that job and you don't give it any context or any training on how to do that job, they will fail. AI is very much the same. If you give the knowledge, if you give specific instructions, if you give the right tools, just like a human, it will be able to execute the job, right? So I think that's where the power of AI is. And that's where the power of having a centralized place where all your information, all your operations runs, it means that you have knowledge and you have the tools for this, what we now call them AI agents, to be able to execute the work and really
Okay.
like streamline things for you.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. Which type of operator tends to get the most value from Jurny today?
Well, the more I think honestly, AI is one of those technologies that is completely underutilized today. And I generalize it outside of just Journey, but that's I think equal for most good AI solutions. I like to see where LLMs are today as this bulletproof bullet train that can travel Mach 4, but it doesn't have the railroads. So you have really you can't blame the train that the train can't go Mach 4, but if you don't have the proper railroad to go that speed, it won't go that speed that fast, right? And if we start seeing glimpses of it, because I think the infrastructure is actually catching up faster than I don't want to say faster than I expected, but it's moving fast, right? Because people have seen the opportunity, so they're jumping on it. And you can start seeing like with things like, I mean, obviously there's some security with problems when people move too fast, like Cloudbot, right? Like we probably heard about it, but you can start seeing the real potential of AI, and that's very much the same for our customers. Like the customers that understand how valuable this is, they get the most value. They can automate upsells, they can generate more revenue, they can tailor make guest experiences and streamline their businesses without having to increase their costs. If anything, they'll make more money. And our job as a company is to make it as easy as possible to fully leverage this technology.
Yeah, definitely. And what parts of your platform usually surprise customer once they start using it?
Well, I think a lot of people perception of a lot of people of AI is still ChatGPT, just a chatbot, right? And to say just I don't like to say just because the LLM behind ChatGPT is very very strong. And so when people start seeing that AI can learn from past messages on how they operate their business and really can start getting a sense of the business and learn just like a human and improve on its own, that leaves people pretty surprised. And I think the ability to handle a variety of different tasks, right? Because you can think it's like, oh yeah, answering guest messages is not that hard. It's insanely hard because there's an insane amount of things that you have to keep in considerations when you're answering to a guest, right? It could be a complaint. It could be asking for extensions. So if a guest is asking for extension, you need to know pricing, you need to know availability. Can you offer? You need to be able to follow the rules. You need to be able to follow SOPs. You need to be able to escalate when you have to escalate. I cannot bring you a towel if you need a towel. I cannot clean your units if you need cleaning. So it needs to be able to do that. It needs to be able to create tasks. And also needs to be able to generate you more revenue. How does it generate you more revenue? By anticipating guest needs, by contextualizing things that it knows that it can upsell the guest for. So, for example, somebody wants to do a late, somebody's saying like, "Hey, is it possible to do a late checkout?" AI needs to know how to answer. So, if the AI has the intuition that the guest might need late checkout, needs to proactively offer it. That's the type of stuff when people start seeing AI can think of all of those things, which will be even hard to train your own team to do. And sometimes AI does it better. We start seeing instances where AI does it a lot better, and people get really surprised. And the second thing I think that the last thing I want to say is that I think I like to talk about a lot of misconceptions about AI. People think it's like AI takes all the jobs away, like they're going to take tons of jobs away, which I agree that people knowing how to use this technology will take jobs away for people that don't know how to use it. And same is for company, even probably more. But I think what people don't realize is that this, like a platform like ours and many other platform power or build on top of AI, have the ability to enhance what you're doing and give you more time to spend on the things that matter. Taking care of the 90% of the busy work of hospitality doesn't do any good. You have to do it because otherwise you can't run your business. But if you could take that away and focus on the 10% that delivers the most value, all of a sudden you're not reducing your personnel, but you're making more money as a business and you're becoming more efficient and you're giving a much better experience to your customers and to your guests. So basically, it's a value. It's a win-win-win across all facets, right? Which is amazing. I never see people like be like, "Oh, I can use this tool. I can fire half of my team." This is I'm sure there's some instances in which that happens, but really, what we see in our industry is like, "Oh, I can automate all of this, so now I can do a lot more. So I don't have to be overwhelmed by the work."
Very true. Very true. Then, I mean, scaling a company that touches daily operation for property managers and hotels is not simple. And there are a lot of moving parts. Like, right now, what feels like the hardest part of running and scaling Jurny?
It's the hardest, but it's also what excites me. But maybe
Good.
because hard things
Yeah.
excites me. But it's it of differences there are in between different operations and different businesses. There's so many nuances. There's so many uniqueness that it's really hard to cover all of it. But which is the hard part to make everybody happy. It's really going to be hard. In fact, like what have we seen in SaaS normally, right? You see hyper-personalized, which again, I think in AI it's going to be also true that when AI company or AI power solutions focus on a specific niche is going to deliver more value. But I think it can be a lot broader and it can make a lot more people happy, right? Because we're seeing more and more that UI UX is not going to become a limitation, because more and more you're going to be able to start talking to your softwares and start interacting like you would interact with a human, right? Even for very complex software, you still need, for some of these businesses, you still need the dashboard. You still need to see and feel it, look at the numbers, but it's going towards like 80% of the stuff you need to do, you can just talk to it. And this is like, you're talking about like customers that know how to leverage the platform. So for example, we built an AI agent is called, so our agentic network is called NIA. And NIA is basically stands for Network of Intelligence Agents. So, but it can also be the name of our AI. So we have NIA data scientists has access to all your reports, trends, and anything you want. And it's built to be a data scientist, which people super underestimate how good AI is now at research and actual data science. It's mental how good it is. And it's basically you have and I'm shocked how many people, like the people that really use it, they are blown away. But I'm shocked how many users are still, to be like, you have that at your disposal. You have a data scientist at your disposal. You can ask everything about trends, about occupancy. How do you make your units more effective? Customize reporting for you. So a lot of people still say, hey, your reporting is, I want to have this and this tweaks on my reporting. But what if you could just talk to an AI and just build whatever reporting you want? That's really where it's going. And I think people majority of people, and then sometimes find myself too, we're still underutilizing a lot of this technology, but in our platforms, they exist, right? So that to me is the biggest challenge, to address all these small buckets of needs. But AI is going to be the best tool to do that. And I think we're very, very, very close to make a lot of people happy.
Yeah, definitely. It's getting better and better, more exciting. I understand your points. From talking to many funders, I see hospitality and real estate operation going through a deep transformation, but not everyone see the same signals. From your vantage point inside hospitality tech, what shift matter most right now, but is still underappreciated?
That's a very good question. Well, let me answer first from specifically hospitality. I think one of the biggest shifts that I see coming is really like this year coming, not like typical 5-10 years conversation. 2026 is going to be hyper-personalization at scale. Personalization it's always been something hard to scale by definition, because you either
Everything is different.
standardize exactly, you either standardize things and make it scalable, or you personalize things and you stay quote unquote boutique and small, right?
Yeah.
What's changing with AI and what AI is gonna enable humans to do, and is going to be these hyper-personalizations. Like a guest stays with you once. Just from small amount of context, it will be able to identify who that person is. What do they like? Anticipate trends. And even better, that person comes back, it will remember every single little bit of interactions. That is personalization, right? And imagine you can do that now across, if you have a million listings, you can do that across a million listings with every guest that has ever stayed with you. That was unthinkable just like months ago.
Yeah, that's true.
And now it's becoming reality. That's going to have a massive impact. Imagine the management companies that are able to execute that flawlessly. The brands that can do that for all their guests. Now you can take a small operator, medium operator that has maybe 100, 200 units that runs Airbnbs, and then you can give them like more than a 5-star experience because it will remember every guest name, every single interaction that's ever made with them. It will remember their trends, remember what they like, anticipate their needs. The small things makes a massive difference. What if you know that that person likes to play tennis, and the next time they come, you just, I don't know, like nice gift, or they can booked, they can get a tennis score for 2 hours for free. You anticipate their needs, you understand what they need, or you give them a 50% discount so you can even make money on it. Like, the opportunities are almost unlimited. It's crazy. And for people that really see this and want and can take advantage of this, they will have a massive advantage over everybody else. Imagine, it's going to take time for large brands to really adapt to these trends. Although there's big brands wanting to talk to us, right, and wanting to implement this technology, but still it's going to take time. So it's almost like being small in this new era is an advantage. Smaller companies, even the development teams, right? Like, think about it. Like, I feel like big companies with like hundreds of developers are going to be at a major disadvantage. A smaller, more nimble team that now has like 10 agents developing for him, he has the output of like 5 people can have an output of 100 people, but be a better quality. That's insane. That's what's coming across multiple different fields, and this is the biggest one in hospitality: hyper-personalization and scale.
Of course, of course. Okay, I love your enthusiasm, and you're so right. And I'm so like you at the top of these, and excited about all this um, improvement in AI. And it sounds like focus and timing play a big role when you are building in a fast-moving AI environment. Looking ahead, 12 to 18 months. What does success realistically look like for Jurny?
Honestly, success is the moment where it is completely frictionless to adopt our technologies, and Jurny can immediately improve your business without any efforts. That's what success is for us.
I love this. And what are you deliberately choosing not to work on right now?
We're trying to eliminate a lot of the noise. It's hard
Yeah.
in today's world. Noise isolation is tricky. And in today's world where there's like new stuff every single day, shiny object left and right, is really hard. Like, we got big like even a big airlines approached us, like some big hotel brands. But we've got to stay focused on our missions. So it feels bad, almost like saying no to businesses. But we just need to be. Eventually, we'll be able to possibly service beyond our core industry right now, which is more the boutique Airbnb hotel industry. And hotels will come, but we need to be focused on finish one thing, do it right, and then expand. But that's also true for trying to isolate the noises in even in AI. It's really a fine line to balance innovations with noise. You have to be on top of everything that is happening, because if you miss one tool, could be a few months of worth of development in terms of speed, a few months of worth of like big advantage towards your competitors, right? So you have to be on top of it, but you also need to be really good at quickly understand if something is going to be helpful for you or is just going to be a distraction. So that's a big one for us. Just trying to stay focused, eliminate the noise, just be like, does this help us on our missions or what we're trying to achieve, or does it not?
No, definitely. But now, now I'm gonna ask you, if you had fewer constraints, what would you accelerate first? You had more time, more money.
Honestly, that's the crazy thing. Not much yet, because I think a smaller team is giving us major advantages. And it's so funny how things have changed, because it's always been like throwing bodies, I hate to say that, at problems. Now it's like, let's try to see what we can automate and build using AI, and then we hire. And what has changed a lot is that we now focus on hiring top-notch talent. Being a senior, it became the most important thing ever. That's where I think people, they're brand new in any careers, they have to be really good at adapting AI, because that's the way that you can get ahead and you can get inside of companies. But experience is infinitely valuable right now. Someone who has like 8-9 years of experience in a specific vertical, whether it's development, whether it's like hospitality specifically, whether it's software, will bring a tremendous amount of value, because that's the type of stuff that can couple with AI, can give you tremendous advantage. So I would say that yeah, of course, if we have a little bit more resources, I would hire a little bit more developers to develop things a little bit faster, but it will be top notch developers, and it wouldn't be that big of a change from what we're doing right now. As we hit inflection point and we deliver on what I said, that the definition of success, that instantly you connect, you have immediate positive impact on your business. That's where you have to accelerate with a lot more capital, right? That's where, because there's a cost of raising capital, right? You're selling equities, so you don't want to sell too much capital before you hit that too much equity, and we're so close.
Okay, that's a good news. Wonderful. What decision feels the most important for you as a CEO in this space?
Generally, you mean, or like
For you
right?
right now, what decision feel the most important?
Well, I think ability to stay in focus. Like, as I said, like, I think like making sure you keep your team as agile as possible, stay focused on the mission, at the same time, don't stop the innovation. Like, tools are changing all the time. You have to keep your brain flexible and elastic to be like, don't be probably today more than any other time in history, being stuck on the way you've been doing things is the worst time to do that, because it's a paradigm shift on how things have been done in almost everything. Like, this is like, I give a perfect example. I am always been very stuck on UI UX, because I have to feel it. Like, I'm like, if I don't feel it, and I felt like I kept getting these suggestions of like, it's going away from there. I'm like, I can't see it. How's it gonna go away? I had a hard time, like, because you grow up, you just, with UI UX, you're like, how am I operating a whole business without seeing it every single moment what I'm doing? And I could not be more wrong. But even if I am on the cutting edge of this technology, I couldn't see it up until not too long. And then when I saw it, I was like, oh my God, UI UX will disappear. 90% for 90% of it. You still have some parts, but it was a big realization. And I think if you're so stuck on the way you done things, and it's like, this is not an advice by any means, but this is how I think, in a bad way, education is modern. Even modern education is not good enough, because school unfortunately teaches you like to follow guidelines of how things have been done. This is how you do it. Close in a box. You
That's
gotta completely be the opposite with AI. If that's a box, you have to look away. It's like, look at everything else about that box. It's like, how can I do it differently? And it's so true in so many little things. I don't know exactly how to explain it, but like, when you start using AI a lot on everything, like you use it to develop, you use it to write content, come up with new ideas, brainstorm, you start understanding these nuances of like, The craft is really in thinking outside the box, thinking new ways of how you would do things, and be completely open-minded.
I love that. I love that, Luca. You have had a front row seat to both building a company and working closely with operator. That gives you a very practical lens. I mean, based on what you have learned so far, what should operator or founder in similar positions start doing or stop doing?
Well, I think one, I guess that's a learned lesson is that now more than ever, you can show before you ask. Fundraising, for example. I hear so many founders that they're like, oh, we got to go raise money before we can do anything. Okay, nowadays you're crazy to think that way. The paradigm is shifted completely. You can build to the very least an MVP with traction on as a solo founder. You just gotta push yourself to do it, right? Like you don't have to be even a developer anymore to develop. Like, listen, you have to. I don't believe that AI can build a full platform if you don't have a technical founder with you. That's just not going to happen. But you can build an MVP, something that would have cost you 20, 30 grand even to do, or even 50 grand before. Now you can do it solely by yourself. You can see and explore and feel the product for yourself before spending 50 grand to know even if that made sense or not, right? Like, and you can go to a company and say like, hey, would this work for you? Would you pay for it? And you can have so many check marks on so many different boxes before you go and raise capital, hire the first person, invest your own money into it. So I think this is the biggest paradigm shift that people need to, biggest change that has happened in entrepreneurship. Like you have to go and do as much as possible, as much as you can without needing any outside help. If you get a co-founder, even better, right? Like two people can, if you have a technical co-founder nowadays, you could probably skip going the fundraising altogether for most ideas. There's going to be some, you're going to SpaceX, so you're going to need funding. But if you want to build a useful tool SaaS company that is actually solving real life problems, which it's full of them, by the way, out there, two founders can do it. If you have one that is good at sell, one is good and at conceptualize and vision and stuff like that, and at pitching, and then and marketing, and then the other one technical co-founder, two people can build $1 billion company today.
Yeah, that's true. It's amazing. It's insane.
It's insane.
That's insane when you, in hindsight. What habit has made the biggest difference for you as a founder?
Making sure try to stay healthy. It's so easy to get stuck, to be sucked into the day-to-day stress and this and that. There's always going to be a reason not to work out.
You're so right. I know. Yeah.
I force myself. There's people that are like, oh, I crave going to work out. I don't. To me, it's like a struggle each time. I'm being honest. It's like every time I'm going in the morning, it's like, don't think about it. You're going to work out. Just don't think about it. Just go do it. And I force myself. It's like, no matter how I feel, no matter what, like stop thinking how you feel. Like, honestly, sometimes like we get so stuck. It's like, how do I feel? F your feelings for a second. And then you just go and do it.
And one piece of advice you will give yourself 5 years ago?
That's a good question. There's a lot. It's hard to isolate to a single one. But I would say like absolute focus, really just eliminate noise and focus. It took me maybe too long to learn that lesson. I'm a creative person. I like inventions. I like new things. But you can have that. You can not lose that. But you gotta stay absolute focus, laser focus on the mission.
Yeah, I love it, and that's right. Luca, thanks for joining. Strong insight into your journey, your industry, and the work you're doing at Jurny, and I love it. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Lauren, thank you so much for the questions and for having me. It was great to be on it. And a great question.
We should do it again in a year from now and see your growth.
see the progress.
Yeah, exactly. Progress and growth. Where can people find you or learn about your company the easy way?
Yeah, the easiest is our website, jurny.com. Pretty active on LinkedIn, Luca Zambello. That's the best place to find me.
Wonderful. Luca, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, and that's it for today's episode of AI Interconnect. If you enjoyed it, share it with someone who is building the future, or better yet, someone who should be. And until next time, stay curious, stay creative, and keep building.